Law Show on KTRS.
Speaker, this is James Knowles. It is about 11 o'clock. Hey, buddy, I really appreciate your help in getting to the governor. He is completely unresponsive. The National Guard is not responding, and they are letting our entire city burn. Please give me a call when you get a chance. If you can get through to anybody at the Speaker's office, if you can get any pressure from anybody to put on him. He is holding back because he thinks that he's trying to appease people, but he is letting our city burn. So, Tim, please give me a call when you get a chance. Again, it's James Knowles. Thanks.
That haunting message was recorded on Speaker of the House's Tim Jones's voicemail from the Ferguson Mayor, James Knowles, the night that the verdict came down in the Michael Brown case. And the person who discovered this is Jillian Fertig. She is a reporter for the ABC affiliate in Columbia, Missouri, KMIZ. Jillian, welcome to Big 550 KTRS here in St. Louis.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You got it. We should also say that you're joining us via Skype. Now, Tim Jones has threatened to sue me for even talking about him on the show. I just want to make sure you got this. I want everyone to know that you got this. You broke this story. And how did you get this audio?
Well, I remember seeing on Twitter that night, Tim Jones was tweeting that the mayor, James Knowles, had tried to get a hold of him in an attempt to reach the governor. You know, Mayor Knowles had been reaching out to the governor, couldn't get through to the office. So I ended up reaching out to Tim Jones, and I asked him a little bit more about that. And I asked him, do you still have that voicemail? And he did. So that is the audio that I got from his cell phone.
Okay, so he gave it to you, or you obtained it from him. You didn't seek a Freedom of Information Act or a Sunshine Law or anything.
Right, he gave it to me.
Okay, good. All right, good. Now, overall, I mean, we've heard that the mayor of Ferguson reached out to everybody. This is the first time we actually hear the panic in his voice. The haunting sounds of our town is burning. I can only imagine what has the reaction you've gotten from this story once you originally reported and then played the audio for people.
I mean, lots of feedback. I mean, obviously the public has had a lot of questions about this. You talk to anybody. And I think the voicemail, I mean, it just shows, like you said, it's shocking. It's come out at that hearing last Wednesday. He had reached out to multiple people. And, here's a perfect example of, that terror, that panic in his voice.
There were a lot of meetings going on leading up to the grand jury decision between lawmakers and many of those meetings, if any of them, was James Knowles even involved in any of them?
No, according to hearings and what he's told me, it was kind of like he was out of the loop. They had multiple meetings. He was originally told the guard would be in Ferguson. And then when in my interview talking to me, he said, a week or two before he found out that would no longer be the case, change of plans. He didn't know why the plans had changed at all.
What's most frustrating, I think, to the news media is that there's been so little interaction between the elected officials, the people in charge, and us, the news media, but more importantly, to the people. The people just have been left out of the loop as to what happened and what the plan was.
Absolutely. And, Governor Nixon said the guard was there in a supporting role. But again, like I talked about in my story, I think the definition of supporting role may be different for the governor versus what the people and those local leaders took that to mean.
And you also got a hold of an email that St. Louis County Police Chief John Belmar also had. And he was asking the governor if they were going to protect the Ferguson Police Department.
Right. In that email, St. Louis County Chief John Belmar says in the email, he writes a question. He says, so can we solicit the governor to put the guard in Ferguson? Because per the governor, the guard is not going to be there. And he goes in there basically asking that question, like, can we have them there? So at that point on November 10th, it's clear that, at least from John Belmar, that he knew there was not going to be guard in Ferguson at that point.
What are you hearing? Are you hearing that Governor Nixon is going to be asked to testify in front of this oversight committee?
He says he had a press conference last Wednesday. Says he would happily cooperate with everybody. To my knowledge, he hasn't been asked to testify yet. I think right now they're still in the beginning stages. Obviously, still trying to talk to Mayor Knowles and some of the people involved that night, and then go from there. But to my knowledge, he has not been asked yet.
Yeah, tell me, is this a big? I know it was a big story worldwide. Clearly, it was a big story here in St. Louis. You're in Columbia. You're in the middle of the state. How big of a story is this there, and are people still talking about it there?
Absolutely. I think it's a big story because, the same elected officials that represent the people of Ferguson in the St. Louis area, they're the same officials that represent us here in Columbia and mid-Missouri. So, it's definitely a big story, and people are still talking about it, and people still have a lot of questions. Jillian
Fertig is with us, reporter via Skype. She's with ABC affiliate KMIZ in Columbia, Missouri. Jillian, thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
You got it. It's 7:26 here, Big 550 KTRS. I want to play for you once again the audio, if we can. Here is the audio of, now remember that night, Peter Kinder said on the show, James Knowles has said on the show that they did everything that they could to reach out to anybody. Right. They asked anybody, hey, we need help. No one's responding to me. And we found out through the White House that Nixon was on the phone with Valerie Jarrett at least once or twice. We also know that at some point at 2 o'clock in the morning, Claire McCaskill calls James Knowles and by then says, hey, it's over with, what's going on? And he says, don't worry about it. We've missed it. The town has already burnt down. So here's the audio of him reaching out to the Speaker of the House, Tim Jones, as a sense of what he sounded like that night. David, if you can play that audio again. Here's Mayor Knowles leaving a voicemail for Speaker of the House, Tim Jones.
Mr. Speaker, this is James Knowles. It is about 11 o'clock. Hey, buddy, I really appreciate your help in getting to the governor. He is completely unresponsive. The National Guard is not responding, and they are letting our entire city burn. Please give me a call when you get a chance. If you can get through to anybody at the Speaker's office, or you can get any pressure from anybody to put on him. He is holding back because he thinks that he's trying to appease people, but he is letting our city burn. So, Jim, please give me a call when you get a chance. Again, it's James Knowles. Thanks.
Remember, the National Guard was deployed in the city of St. Louis. It was deployed in Clayton. It was not deployed in Ferguson. And the next day, Governor Nixon held a news conference saying we are going to deploy more resources to Ferguson. Mm-hmm. So the question is, why did you deploy them everywhere else except Ferguson? And then the next day, after you saw the destruction, did you then deploy them into Ferguson?
That's the questions that will be asked if he does agree to testify in the hearing.
729, Big 550 KTRS.
Joey.